helicopter carrying 5 people and 1 pilot suddenly plummeted into the water below. We're going to play for you now the moment it dropped from the sky. And we are pausing here before the moment of impact. What happened next was a furious rescue effort on one of the busiest waterways in the world. The scene reminiscent of the miracle on the Hudson 16 years ago near the same exact location. But the results today, far from a miracle. All 6 on board killed, including 3 children. A warning tonight, some of the images you're about to see are disturbing. Our team is on the scene of the crash, and Sam Brock joins us now live. Sam, they tried so hard to rescue those passengers.
Yeah, Tom, that's right. According to authorities, divers were in the water within minutes of the calls coming in. Look over my shoulder here. You can still see the flashing lights. That's the scene across the Hudson River as we are learning more about the death of a family. 5 kids involved. 3 children involved.
The terrifying final moments of the helicopter flight captured on video as it fell out of the sky and plunged into New York City's Hudson River.
We have multiple boats still in the water conducting searches for any additional occupants of the aircraft.
These images showing the chopper turned upside down in the water.
We got another person in the water.
Plane was turned around, sitting there in the water, almost like it was floating.
Tonight, authorities say the crash happened around 3:17 p.m., that 6 people were on board that flight, and there are no survivors.
According to the manifest, aboard the helicopter were 6 people, 1 pilot, 2 adults, and 3 children.
The mayor saying it was a tourist sightseeing flight with a family from Spain on board that had taken off from Lower Manhattan.
I have the entire family members. We're lifting them up in prayer.
We were met by the first responders and they told us they did everything they can to try to save these victims. And you can see the trauma in their face.
Dominic Cognata was walking to a flag football game on Manhattan's West Side when he witnessed the crash.
What did you say?
So I just happened to be walking and I heard it sounded like an engine just dying, and it was like do 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 do, and I just turned, I looked, and I saw the helicopter crash and splash into the water.
A former NTSB investigator tells us the video appears to show the chopper breaking apart.
Well, it appears to me from the video that there was some sort of catastrophic flight control malfunction where the main rotor blade and head and the tail rotor blade.
All right, the first reports that we got on this, that there was 2 helicopters that collided with each other. But I looked at the footage and I'm not seeing no other helicopters around there that it collided with. So what did it do? What happened? Well, maintenance malfunction. It just exploded on itself. And that's what I thought too. It was missing the tail section, right? But we're not looking for another helicopter. That's the thing. There's been no other reports or anything that I've seen having to do with any other helicopter. So this must have been a maintenance malfunction, and it just disintegrated, right? You got a lot of parts that are spinning at high velocity, high RPMs. And if anything interrupts that, then it causes a catastrophic explosion. Not an explosion of like flames. Well, it could, but metal, steel being twisted and it just lets go, right? That's what they heard. People said they heard a noise in the sky, right? And then it plummeted and crashed into the river. And that's not the only one. There's been 4 or 5 of them that's happened. And it's very common in the U.S. and other places when you have all these helicopters in one place and they're all sightseeing or news or whatever. They're not either reading their instrumentation right or their radars, and they collide. And this has happened many of times out there. So is it shocking? No, it ain't shocking to me. It's common.
Blade assembly departed the aircraft in flight.
Sam joins us again live. And Sam, eyewitnesses are telling you more about what they saw when that chopper went down?
Yeah, Tom, that's right. We spoke to another eyewitness who said it appears that something happened to the tail, dislodging the main rotor of the chopper, causing it to fall in a free fall. Right now, obviously, this crash is under investigation. The NTSB, Tom, is launching its own team. Tom.
All right, Sam Brock, on those final moments. This crash is raising new concerns about the potential dangers of helicopter tourism. Emily Aketa has more.
In the wake of the terrifying crash on the Hudson, tonight, new questions around the safety of helicopters and sightseeing flights. As officials confirmed, today's aircraft was flying for the New York Helicopter Tour Company.
This is based on flight tracking software. A Bell 206 helicopter flying for the tour company New York Helicopters took off from the downtown Manhattan heliport at 2:59 p.m.
At least 32 people have died in helicopter crashes in New York City since 1977, according to the Associated Press. There was a fatal helicopter crash in New York City 7 years ago when 5 sightseers drowned after an open-door flight crashed in the East River off the Upper East Side. The pilot survived. In 2009, an even deadlier incident. 9 people died when a sightseeing helicopter collided with a private plane over the Hudson River. The iconic skyline, a magnet for tour operators, while also seeing both private recreational and commercial aircraft traffic.
There is quite a lot of traffic there just because it's a populous center, but I don't think that's an issue in this case.
Jeff Gazzetti is a former NTSB investigator.
It is a well-regulated industry. It has to meet FAA standards, but there have been some tragic crashes around the country and around the world involving air tour helicopters. You know, the idea is to give passengers somewhat of a thrill ride, and sometimes that increases the risk to these types of flights.
Emily joins us now on set. So, Emily, we know these trips are popular. How common are these helicopter crashes?
So while there have been some high-profile tragedies in recent years, experts point out that the rate of fatal helicopter accidents actually hit its lowest level last year in 25 years. Sightseeing tours making up about 15% of those crashes. Still tonight, we are seeing a renewed push from local leaders calling for a ban on non-essential helicopter flights over the city, Tom.
Okay, Emily, we thank you for that.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.
Hey, video creator, we know you. For you, it's about more than getting the job done.
Working to determine what caused a helicopter to crash into the Hudson River yesterday. All 6 people on board died. And we've got to warn you here, what you're about to see is disturbing. This video shows the moment the helicopter tumbled out of the sky and crashed right there into the water. The main body of the aircraft was recovered from the river. You see it there, detached from the tail and the chopper blades. A search for those pieces is underway. Let's bring in CBS News correspondent Lilia Luciano, who's following this story for us close to where the chopper went down. Lilia, it's a heartbreaking story, especially considering who was on board. What are we learning about the victims of the crash?
That was devastating, Errol. This was a family from Spain. The father is the president of the Spanish Siemens company branch. He was there with his wife and his 3 children. According to WCBS, the children's ages were 11, 4, and 5, or approximately. The chopper went down at around 3:15 p.m. The calls to 911 started coming in immediately. Witnesses said that they heard a loud boom and then started seeing parts, as you mentioned, of the helicopter coming apart in midair before it crashed right behind where we are into the water. Authorities showed up right away. The NYPD and the NYFD showed up. We saw the divers coming back, and the bodies were recovered very quickly after, within the first few hours. And they declared 4 of the people deceased there when they recovered the bodies. 2 were taken to hospitals, but of course ultimately died.
And Lilia, I know that for you, like me, you know, we live close to where these helicopter tours take place. It's something that if
All right. Well, my condolences to the families. He was the president of some big business or something. But this is common out there, right? Do your history. There's been 5 or 6 helicopters that crashed into the Hudson sightseeing. What I'm not seeing is another helicopter around that it hit. When this story first broke, there was witnesses that 2 helicopters collided, but we only have one that's down. We haven't had no reports of any other helicopter coming in. So the only other thing is it just self-detonated, meaning maintenance, or the guy must have did something, maybe clicked it into reverse blade or whatever, and it just couldn't handle it, and couldn't handle the RPMs or whatever, and it just exploded on its own, which is very possible, and not unless he hit something else up there. But I don't know, what's the other thing that would take a chopper down like that? Well, our new capabilities, right? Maybe someone's got a microwave gun or something in New York or whatever. Then they're hitting the helicopters with, I don't know, maybe there's a good chance it was. I mean, if it was just up there hovering and it just fell out of the sky, then either there was maintenance problems. It's possible someone hit it with a radar gun. Well, I mean, a microwave weapon or something. All right. Be safe, folks, when you're on these contraptions. Nothing is 100% anymore, folks. I'm letting you know this. What are we lacking? We're lacking people, mechanics. You know, nobody wants to do it anymore. Everybody's rich. Now you got a whole country that wants to be rich. They don't want to work. Therefore, you don't have mechanics. You don't have maintenance guys, and it's very expensive to fly, to maintain a plane or a helicopter. So they fly them as long as they can until they definitely got to have service done on it. But this is what happens if that's the case. You folks have a great day. I'll be back with more stuff. It's going to get crazy this year. 2025 is going to be a humdinger. So hunker down. I think we're just seeing the tip of the madness and the deaths and everything. Well, you know, we were the America and the people, the citizens have been unjust. Don't come to Indiana. It's crazier than 2 coons fighting over a peanut. So we'll be back when there's more information about this, but I'm not seeing anything else on the second helicopter. So we know it didn't hit another helicopter yet. So the only other thing is maintenance. And that would explain why the rotors and the blades and everything came up. And all right, I'll be back. You folks have, I think we got some sun out there today. I think it's supposed to be in the 50 today or something. Well, we're starting to get back to that warmer temps, but with warmer temps come storms. So, oh, I do want to give a shout out to the guys that are working on the water tower out there. I heard them out there sandblasting. They got the whole water tower covered in a giant tarp, a white tarp. And they're out there sandblasting and painting the water tower. You folks have a great day. I'll be back.